prices hadn't changed in 30 years. My boss had memorized what it cost. He didn't need a program. It had been the same for 30 years. And remember, we're talking about basic life insurance. There has been so much innovation just since the mid-'80s. Again, you picked the right time to be in the industry. So coming forward, between 1980, really in the mid-'80s, to 2016, let's see what the industry changed. Because remember, prior to this, it was whole life, term insurance, and something called an endowment. And an endowment was a policy that if you took an endowment out for 20 years, you would have the death benefit of that endowment, let's say $10,000, but your premiums would equal $10,000 over that 20 years. You would literally pay the death benefit in, and if you were still alive after 20 years, they sent you the check. That was one policy. Now remember, when I came into the business also in 1980, with 1950 CSO tables, most people were going to pay more into the policy if they lived long enough than the death benefit was worth. It's incredible, isn't it? You can't do that today. It's impossible to do that today, for the most part, with most people. So Universal Life changed it. What changed it? What made it Universal Life? What made the companies come out with this product where it was basically a policy with a cash value on the side that paid whatever the current interest rate was, and at that time they were extremely high. What caused that? Disintermediation of the business. There were federal reports out on the life insurance business and the companies and whether or not they should be sharing the profits with the clients. There were industry things popping up to where different companies like A.O. Williams popped up and was saying buy term and invest the difference. So there was disintermediation in the companies, there was disintermediation in the distribution of life insurance. And when I came into the business, I remember my boss saying, nothing changes in our business, okay? It's been the same since 1950. If you want to be in a business with no change, you're in the right place. And then this happened, Universal Life. And we've been at warp speed since the middle 1980s when FFS came out with the first one. We've been at warp speed on product creation, on how they worked. Next comes the variable Universal Life, where you literally did have buy term and invest the difference. You invested in the marketplace, and variable Universal Life allowed you to do that. Again, just since the mid-'80s, variable annuities came out to where you can invest in the market inside of a framework of an annuity. Guaranteed Universal Life came out where the Universal Life policies that were on the books, because when they wrote originally, the interest rates were 14, 15, 16% being credited to the policies. By the time they went down to about 4%, the policies wouldn't carry anymore. The projections wouldn't work. And the industry had to step up, and they did. And that's the one thing. David said earlier he's proud of what some of the companies have done with innovations, and Phil mentioned it also. I am too. They stepped up and said, you know what, we need to have a product that actually, if they want to pay a certain premium, we will guarantee the death benefit if they pay the premium. We don't care what the interest rates do. And the industry stepped up. And then you heard the story. We then had indexed annuities in the same time period where, if you haven't read The Power of Zero with the different books that are out there, you really need to. That helps you understand how important indexing is. If you haven't done that, The Power of Zero, when it comes to a product, and I'll give my wife as an example. My wife's been a stay-at-home mom now for 20 plus years. I better be careful here. Anyway, 20-some years. We'll go with that. She stayed home mom. She had a little retirement built up where she worked, and they made her move it out. So she said, well, what I'm at is $20,000, Ron. What do you want to do with it? I said, well, we got a friend. Let's just ask his opinion and move on. So he put it in a variable annuity. Okay, a variable annuity. He did that in 1999, the end of 99. Do you know what happened in 2000? The market went down about 60%, so our 20,000 went down to less than 10. So for the next 8 years, we spent trying to get the money back up to where it started at 20. Do you know what happened in 2008? It went back down again. You know the conversation I had with my wife? Why don't you sell me one of those fixed annuities that you have, and I'd be way ahead of the game instead of what you did to me? That's a hard conversation to have with your spouse. That's where the Power of Zero comes in, okay? So with Power of Zero, we start at zero. Though you would have taken out all those negative years. For me, anyway. And then we have Index Universal Life. What a great creation. Well, I mean, really, you guys are you're in the right time. I told you earlier about the cartoons, about how hard it was to come into this business when I came in. This product changes everything. And the reason this product changes everything is not just because of the growth. Can you believe that you can actually pay premiums in for a period of time? I told you earlier, when I got into the business, you could pay more in than the death benefit. People actually paid more than the death benefit in. Can you believe today you can pay money in for a period of time, you can take more money than that out, and the policy's still in force? What a great time to be in this business. I love this. Living benefits changed the game, didn't they? We heard earlier. Changed the game. This is how innovative this industry is. When they came out with living benefits, and it's not stopped, has it? We hear every day about a new living benefit that a company has created, that the companies you represent have created. I mean, it's unbelievable to me what's going on, and all of this to take care of people at the right time. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You know, Ron, we're in almost September here. I'm behind on my goal. All of these speakers are great. I don't know how I'm going to get caught up. I thought I'd be ahead of where I'm at right now. Now, if you know me, you know I'm from Kansas City, and then you'll find out I've been a season ticket holder with the Kansas City Royals for 28 years. I'm the eternal optimist, right? 25 of the worst years in the history of baseball. You know what happened to them in 2014? At the All-Star break, which is exactly halfway through the season, there are 162 games a year. We're at 81 games. The Major League Baseball does this thing, almost like Vegas, where they give statistics on teams making the playoffs. At that time, Kansas City Royals had a 7% chance to make the playoffs. Just the playoffs, just the wild card, just the playoffs. In 2014, with a payroll of $85 million, that's all, compared to teams with $350 million payroll, so it doesn't matter what you make, it's what you do. They won their wild card game and went on all the way. Now they lost, but they went all the way to Game 7 of the World